Welcome to Gold Talks. On these little clips, we're going to meet some very interesting people that are going to connect sports, football particularly, and mental health and wellness. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Gold Talks. Today we have Diana Matheson with us. She's going to answer a few questions about the importance of football, mental health, and wellness, and how it all perfectly flows together. Diana, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, you are a leader in the sport. You've got medals. You've done the Olympics. You play in the U.S. now. The question for you, and specifically during Gold Talks, because of everything the foundation is trying to do by bringing the conversation up about mental health and wellness and how sport can absolutely help, create change in society in many, many facets. My question to you is that something that you believe? Does football have the chance to make change in society and take the lead?
Yes, I think it does. And I think I would have said that before this year in COVID-19, that sports stands for a lot of altruistic things. But I think especially now, I think with everything we're dealing with in the world, sports are a privilege. I think that we get to play them, that we get to, especially for athletes that get to have sports as their job, it's quite a privileged position. And I think there's a responsibility and a chance for athletes to stand for positive change. I think we've seen a lot of that so far this year. All the leagues standing for Black Lives Matter, the NBA supporting the WNBA. There's been a lot of really good examples out there. And I think absolutely with the visibility athletes have, they can be a really positive driver for positive change.
Has football helped, or soccer, has soccer helped you yourself with sort of mental clarity? Sometimes you might be worked up and then you go for a run, or you hit your training, or you're doing, using your sport to help yourself sort of work through things. Have you seen that be a resigning force?
I've definitely seen some of the tools around resilience that I've learned through sport. Through winning, losing, tough training, that sort of thing, but particularly for me through injuries. And overcoming injury and trying to come back, and the learnings and tools that I've picked up around those things, kind of just in terms of, setting your goals, making a plan, creating a team around you that's going to help you get there, getting rid of the things that are taking away from what you're trying to do. Like those type of tools I found really useful in life. And especially this year where there's been a lot of tough situations, that resilience piece, I found sports has really helped me with that.
That's amazing. And then the last question with Gold Talks is, this one's sort of hard to answer, but does soccer have to take that charge? Does it have to take that lead, being the world sport? And again, that can be up to debate in different circles, but on this show at least, and in my opinion, football, soccer is the sport of the world. And so does it have an obligation to constantly be in the forefront, unfortunately, by being the world's game, to help create that change in gender equality, in just every issue that's literally on the planet? It does flow at some point into the game and into the community that follows that game. So is there an obligation that the sport, unfortunately, but fortunately, has to take up as its cause?
That's a good question. I think, I don't know if it's an obligation, but I think they certainly can globally have the most impact, because to your point, just the scope of the game, the diversity of the people playing the game. I think if I'm thinking of something like gender equity and investing in women's sports, I think for sure football can have the biggest impact in that, because of just the number of countries around the world that play the game and the number of countries where women's soccer can still be really, really developed. So I think they could be by far the biggest driver in that aspect.
Fantastic. Diana, thank you for joining us on Gold Talks. We appreciate it. We appreciate your insight, being I want to call you a football or soccer gangster. And again, we really appreciate your time and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks again for having me.